Time in the morning watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, recovering from Hurricane Beryl, the physical and the social aspects. And in the second watch, we'll be looking on the mental and emotional aspects. For our social media question, we ask, how satisfied are you with the national recovery rate after Hurricane Beryl? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag #TheMorningWatch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
All right, today's I quote says, "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." So if I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. This one is from Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, good quote there. Morning, Joka.
Good morning, good morning.
I think it's the first time seeing you since Miss Beryl passed through.
Yeah, since Beryl decided to.
How did you fare?
It was not bad for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't have power for about 3 days, but it wasn't so bad. Us in Portmore, it wasn't so bad. But for those otherwise, since Elizabeth, Clarendon, Manchester, they got most of
other parts of the West.
Yeah. But in my area, was good.
Yeah, we're okay as well. Nothing to write home about. Really. Right. But we give God thanks, and we are still concerned about those who are suffering.
Amen. Right.
All right. This first watch will be back after the break.
Fun. Don't miss out on the first graduation flash sale. Sign up for your enroll for only $4,999 plus PCT and get a free Samsung A05 plus a $10,000 flow gift card that can be used wherever Visa cards are accepted. Visit our full store today. Offer available until July 15 or while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Joseph, but you begin to cook a bread. Patty can't without cocoa bread. Here the patty eat flat in the bread. Bread soft with cocoa bread. Patty hot gas can't chop in the bread. Joseph, patty with cocoa bread nice. For them cocoa bread are my choice. When soft, you know it tastes nice. Cocoa bread with the chicken no rice. Bread. Get your best patty and cocoa bread at Juicy today.
As a man living with HIV, a regular day from me, not much different from yours. I have to wake up and go to people and work in the traffic, but then when we reach, we can run some joke and work at them. Sometimes we link up after work, or play ball, or just dip on my ends and kick back before we go home. HIV are a part of our community. Make a part. Protect, accept, and respect. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your wealth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Welcome back to the
Stone dog, zinc fence catch up on roadside. Miss Matty jump blow down the gully cause hurricane pass nationwide. Every rain and breeze make tree limb bend and pop. A black and sandbag miss little put pan a road stop. George him never believe, so him never stop up in place. A zinc fence we see my run down like say him and them in a race. One breadfruit tree drop on Mark house, banana tree drop on the car. The sun come up on the road, there be a sand up on the tar. Grams a look for him cow, he said wash right down the river. And you know the cow a breed, as soon time fishy deliver. They say me hear Miss Piggy ball out, me think the hurricane teeth are pig. Come fi find out, say a breeze blow off her wig. The tree then strip naked, not a leaf fi hide them shame. The pipe bust out the road, so no water in the lane. The tree them lay down in the road, so them tired of the struggle. We have to be careful in these times because the thief them a smuggle. The light now come back, so the meat in the fridge pile. And the gas pan blow away, so not even water me can boil. And you see though all of this bad, you still not hear the worst part. The hurricane season not done.
Okay, I guess Miss Lou would say, aye. We want to thank the individuals responsible for that bit of poem after the storm review. So welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and preliminary assessments show over $1 billion in damage to the agriculture sector in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. The last time we checked, Flow and the Digicel reported up to 85% connectivity. And as at last night, JPS reported that at least 83% of its customers had electricity. So, service of all sorts is being restored, but how was it for some persons in the worst hit corners of the country? Well, to tell us more, we have joining us so far Minister Keith Spence. He's also a businessman and resident in St. James. Good morning, Minister Spence.
Hi, morning to you, Toussaint, and to our wide audience. Morning again.
Great. Good to have you. We're hoping to be joined, I believe, by Mr. Moses Chaibar. So, Minister Spence, tell us what has been the impact of Hurricane Beryl in your neck of the woods.
Well, I'm in Montego Bay, and there was some disruption. There was trees, electricity, being disrupted, water for about 2 days, electricity going 3 days. But overall, the infrastructure remained generally intact. There were some trees. I lost a windscreen with one of my vehicles.
Oh, sorry to
But overall, people were moving around, and you could get the general supplies, fuel, and for those who have generators, and the wholesalers were open. The smaller shops, so I could see people going around for candles and some of the other basic supplies. But overall, things somehow kept moving.
Yes, and go ahead.
No, the challenge I had was to see people driving around, just observing. And I heard the poem this morning, one thing for Jamaica, we're kind of resilient. We take everything like joke. But we have to be careful
Yes.
that we don't, gloat too much over other people's
Misfortune.
misfortunes.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see a lot of that people just going around to see who for house blow off, and we need to check ourselves when it come on to these things.
Yes. So, how were the businesses impacted, would you say?
Apart from the hotels, which, people pay money to come and enjoy themselves, and some of the smaller properties, had challenges, and you have to be paying, and you don't have water in the room, and you don't have light, and it can be even so, and something in the Gleaner about one family that was so disgruntled because she couldn't even go home because flights were disrupted. But overall, it appeared to be business as usual, and I was a bit concerned, as coming from a biblical perspective, when we could hear Sunday and Saturday, everybody giving thanks for what, for how bad it could have been and how God has spared this nation and spared them. But there were some other people that were less fortunate. And the big question should have been, and which is the big solution, the grand solution in my scheme of things, and the way the Word of God puts it, is what can I do to help? I'm not hearing that yet. And that should be the call to government for those of us who have been spared and still have the resources to be moving around and our business going. I saw some pictures on Facebook. I mean, I was just scrolling through pictures and pictures of not just houses, but people, the faces of people, persons that were impacted by the storm. And I mean, it's still before me. To see families sitting in their living room without a roof.
Right.
And this is where Jamaicans need to see this. It's a model, that God said in the scripture. And it was in the Old Testament with Israel, and it was very present in the New Covenant, in the church, where the concept of you don't leave that one sheep behind. Jamaica is fractured. Jamaica is fractured, and we need to fix the fracture to go on. Unfortunately, we just giving God thanks for our little portion and that we are right. But Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, the food belt, we don't feel it down the road,
Yes, and I'm happy you mentioned Westmoreland because I gather we now have online Mr. Moses. Is it Chai Bar, President of the Westmoreland Chamber of Commerce? Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yes. What was the impact of Hurricane Beryl in your neck of the woods, Mr. Chaibar?
Well, the impact would be kind of mixed in some sense because for some areas, we personally would have experienced just trees being blown down. Other areas, person would have lost pieces of their roof, and roads were damaged in some areas too. Thankfully, there were no reports of loss of lives or major injuries. And when we look at everything, I just want to say I am very grateful that despite the fact that this was a very strong hurricane, that we did not experience much of that across the country where persons were injured or losing their lives. I did hear that there were 2 persons that died, and I also want to say condolences to those persons. But overall, we are feeling a sense of gratitude because it could have been much worse. The damage that we are seeing across Westmoreland can be repaired over time in terms of infrastructural damage. And it will take money, obviously. But for the most part, it is persons losing their roof, trees falling down and tearing down power lines. I gather there is some disruption in water also, where some pipes might have been damaged. Outside of that, I really can't say that it was such a big impact. In Negril, for example, a lot of the hotels would be really struggling because they have guests.
Hold that thought, please, Mr. Chaibar. We're up on a break. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Time is now 7:15 a.m.
School done? Time for fun. Don't miss out on first graduation flash sale. Sign up for Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus PCT and get a free Samsung A05 plus a $10,000 float gift card that can be used wherever Visa cards are accepted. Visit a Flow store today. Offer available until July 15 or while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this day, first watch, we are seeking to have a discussion on recovering from Hurricane Beryl, the physical and the social aspects. In so doing, we have online Mr. Moses Chaibar, president of the Westmoreland Chamber of Commerce, and Minister Keith Spence, businessman and resident in St. James. I believe before the break, Mr. Chaibar, you're telling us about the Negril experience?
Well, yes. Everyone would have been out of electricity from the grid, and persons have generators, standby generators, yes, but not everyone would have a generator that is large enough to provide the full demand for power to run the property. And so there is some amount of inconvenience to operators and guests. And of course, staff members would find it difficult to get to work. And that also would have an impact on the people. What we have seen also now, post-Hurricane Beryl, is that the loss of power seems like it's going to be resulting in heavy losses to a lot of people, especially those without a standby generator. Let's look at cold storage, for example. I heard that Nakalva had quite a bit of chicken and their generator was malfunctioning. I'm not sure as yet if they're able to get rid of it. So there are many persons who I am sure will be facing some serious losses, supermarket operators, hoteliers too, because of the absence of power and not having a generator that is able to handle the demand. So that is a big thing. I don't know yet how to quantify that or how it will affect, if it will put anybody out of business. Hopefully not. And how do we recover from that? So the power problem, I think, is one of the major things.
Right.
And we know the JPS company is working. However, we really would love to see things coming back together much faster because the impact is getting worse and worse.
Yes. And it affects not just electricity, but the water, eh?
Water, because so many things depend on the grid in order to function.
Yeah.
We have seen damages to schools also. Like Manning School, I happen to be the board chairman there, and I can tell you that there are 2 blocks, 12 classrooms that the roof totally went.
Yeah, we saw some images, yes. Minister Spence, what is being done now since the hurricane has come and gone? What are some of the challenges you're recognizing?
Well, as I alluded to before, Montego Bay in general seem to have escaped most of the brunt of this system, and for the most part, it's about clearing trees and restoring power lines. But as I was saying also, that there is a solution. There is a solution coming from a biblical perspective, and God has made a way. There's always resources. You know what the resources is? In the neighborhood. The royal law. When will Jamaica really be able to esteem the other person even more important than ourselves? any day we can come to that, we're going to realize that the resources are here, and not only in the natural, but God Himself will multiply once we start to make that sacrifice. It takes sacrifice. There's a Hebrew word called tzedakah, Tzedakah, which means to do righteousness through charity. And everywhere you see the word righteousness or charity or justice, that's the word that is being used and translated. You know, we have a responsibility to respond to God's order, and that is to love each other. Not look on with amazement and then even ridicule, but to act. The resources are here. And regardless of how small yours is, probably a little lady down in Canterbury or Dunkirk or somewhere that can give $500, it might be her ticket out of poverty. This is the principle. It's not about gearing it to the offering plate, but giving it to those that are in need. God is not going to come down and fix nobody's roof. Make the sacrifice. I challenge this nation to rally to this call. It is an opportunity for Jamaica to turn around, to love each other, and to give despite of your own circumstances, and then watch God.
Well, having said that, Minister, the churches in St. James, as far as you know, what have they begun doing in that regard?
And there's from what I've heard, there's a lot of thanksgiving. And this is where there's, I want to put them on the spot. Here we go. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. This is the time to rally, to be ecclesia, to be the government of God, not church where you have your flag over here, your sign over here. I am this, you are that, and we're segmented. That's the divide and conquer scenario from the kingdom of darkness. We need to know rally and be one people, one ecclesia, and carry out one mission, the mission of our King Yeshua, in the earth. We don't have the opportunity to have an opinion. We just have to carry out His mandate. We're doing something else. We're doing religiosity. We need to be kingdom. And by that, we do tzedakah, we do love, and give sacrificially. We need the contractor general, the other department of what they call integrity commission. Right now, Jamaica and the skull dog, we want to get past that. People want to give, they want to know how to help. When you look at Americans, Jamaicans having success overseas, those are the ones rallying around right now, trying to collect resources to come to Jamaica. And I'm sure their biggest concern is, will it reach the people? We need to fix these things.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
And we will be a great and mighty nation.
Mr. Chaiba, apart from the concerns in regards to utilities, what other concerns are there? What other challenges and difficulties you have been experiencing since the hurricane?
Well, we obviously, when there's no power and the place is under darkness, it curtails activities and persons can't move around as they would normally do. And access to goods and services too would also be affected. Being at the western side of the island, supplies from Kingston, for example, to replenish stocks in supermarkets and things like those are being affected. I think maybe today, tomorrow, we should start see supplies coming in. Most supermarkets are very low on stock and out of stock on some basic stuff. So that is an issue. Transportation was an issue at the start, but I must say that what has been a very nice thing to see is citizens, as I listen to the minister, I can say that citizens in the parish, as early as Thursday morning, they were out with their personal chainsaws and shovel and stuff, clearing road and trying to create something to allow for traffic to flow. And they did that of their own free will without being paid. So that was a very nice and refreshing thing to see. So I do believe that Jamaicans still have that feeling of community and togetherness, and that I think is something that is good and quite an excellent example for others to see. And what was heartening too is that a lot of the persons, they were young men in their teens and early 20s. So that is good. So right now, if we can get power restored, water everywhere.
Okay, back to utilities.
Internet and telephone service. Yeah, utilities as a whole back to working properly. It will make a major difference. The rest of it, as Minister Spence said, it will take time to fix, and we have to rally around each other as a community, as our brother's keeper, and just lend a helping hand wherever we can, because it's the only way. Some of us are less fortunate than the other. And even some of us who may consider us less fortunate, we still are able to lend a helping hand, whether it be financially or in terms of a skill and expertise here and there. So it's a recovery now. I don't see anything around us today in Westmoreland that we can't recover from. It's a matter of getting our mindset in the right place that, look, this hurricane, it came, it did what it did. And now we have to pick up the pieces and just build. It's an opportunity to be better and to be stronger in what we do and to be more united as a people. All the other things that we're seeing, the worst is past. We just have to get together and make it, put it all back together now.
Yeah. And having so said, Minister Spence, what lessons have been or should be learned from the encounter with Hurricane Beryl?
You know, the word of God said, creation groans and travail with expectation for righteousness, for people to come back into righteousness. Let's set an example for the next breeze that blow. Jamaica is not one that's going to be a standalone. Creation is watching. The next storm is watching. The universe is watching. The world is watching. Let's rally to each other's help. And we will overcome any storm. My last question, who is in your boat? Is Yeshua in your boat? Is the word, the standard of God in your boat? If he is there, if it is there, then any storm can be quelled.
Okay.
He is the storm calmer.
Yeah. Mr. Chaibar, as there is a prediction that this season will be very active, and the onslaught of Hurricane Beryl is a timely reminder of that. Are there any general suggestions or recommendations you want to give to those listening out there?
Well, most certainly. First of all, I would say don't take anything for granted. Gone are the days when a hurricane will hit you unexpectedly because communication wasn't strong 30, 40 years ago. We all have ample time now to prepare properly. And I think it's in the preparation, in how we build our infrastructure, is how we protect our property when a hurricane is approaching. It's also a reminder to remain humble as a people, as individuals, that, we can be cut down to size just like that. And to maintain that level of togetherness in community, that if I'm having a problem, I can call my neighbor or my neighbor up the road, and likewise they can call me. So I think in terms of preparation, communities must come together, not just individually, but collectively. How do we prepare? It happens mostly through the state agencies, but as private citizens, we too must form our community and be ready to respond when there are situations because storms are going to come.
Yeah.
Beryl is not the only one, it's not the first, it's not the last. And it's all about preparation. So prepare as best as you can. Information flows freely all over the place now. So there's no shortage of information, of knowledge, and communication tools are everywhere. So get together as a people and prepare as best as you can. And if we prepare well, I do believe that we will fare better, whether it's a hurricane or whatever it is that hits us.
A fitting note on which to end. We want to thank you both for joining us, gentlemen. Have a safe day.
You too, sir. Have a good one.
Okay.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Everything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Jam Bank is
7:30.
Need auto insurance? Advantage General puts you in the driver's seat. Apply online, purchase online, renew online, submit a claim online. Coverage in no time. Request a quote, purchase insurance, submit claims, even pay renewals with Advantage General Online. From zero coverage to insured in 10 minutes. Advantage General, a member of Sagicor Group Jamaica. Conditions apply.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Follow Grace Sardine, follow the flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. Do all of them nice. Pass the part, make us shell it.
Pick up Grace Sardines with peppers, vegetable oil, water and olive oil with peppers.
Cook it up, pre-breakfast, lunch or dinner. Shake it out, spice it up, make it simmer. Grace Sardine, yeah, the better flavor. Quick and easy as you print it, ready.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
It's not over. Listen to words of upliftment in Something More with Bishop Harold Blair, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center.
And he cried out to God, have you been there? Have you been there when it seems as if you've been left all alone and no one cares for you? No one gives to your word of comfort or consolation. But as you lift up your eyes to the hills from whence cometh your help, the Lord heard your cry.
That's Something More with Bishop Harold Blair. Something More comes to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
It's not over till it's over. It ain't over yet. Oh, it's not over.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Rock, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
School done? Time for fun! Don't miss out on the first graduation flash sale! Sign up for Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus VCT and get a free Samsung A05 plus a $10,000 flow gift card that can be used wherever Visa cards are accepted. Visit a Flow store today. Offer available until July 15 or while stocks last. Conditions apply.
In life, the more you have, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Hill Run flooded as heavy rains persist. Also in the Gleaner, IC, that's the Integrity Commission, annual report could be tabled today. In the Observer, the PM announces intention as NCB launches $300 million disaster relief fund. Also in the Observer, generators, new and used, are in high demand. And then finally, in Loop News, roads still blocked in 3 parishes. NWA says 94% of roads impacted during Hurricane Beryl are now reopened. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, We read some of the feedback from our social media question. How satisfied are you with the national recovery rate after Hurricane Beryl? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Boardwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
School done? Time for fun! Don't miss out on the first graduation flash sale! Sign up for Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus PCT and get a free Samsung A05 plus a $10,000 floor gift card that can be used wherever Visa cards are accepted. Visit a full store today. Offer available until July 15 or while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Jamaica, your favorite gospel show, Jamaica Gospel Star, is back on CVM TV, Sundays at 8 p.m. starting July 14. Tune in and be blessed. And don't forget that your vote counts. Yes, your votes will help to decide the winner. 10 finalists, 3 rounds of eliminations. But only 1 finalist will be left standing to become a 2024 Jamaica Gospel Star. Sundays on CVM TV, 8 p.m. starting July 14.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now. Downy, my mega With so much to do in one location, make Mega Mart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy, all in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
Are you curious about Jamaica's future as a republic? Join the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs on Monday, July 8 and Wednesday, July 10 at 6 p.m. for an insightful webinar on Jamaica's journey on the road to republic. This is your chance to learn, ask questions about the recommendations of the CRC, and be a part of history in the website at mlca.gov.jm and register today. That's the Road to Republic webinar on July 8 and 10 at 6 p.m. See you there.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. How satisfied are you with the national recovery rate after Hurricane Beryl? Jokal?
All right, so we have some responses. Let's take this first one from Edna in Montego Bay. Edna, let me hear from you.
Morning watch. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. How satisfied I am with the recovery process after Hurricane Beryl. I would say it's too early to call for me, because it's not yet a week since Beryl came. Tomorrow will be 8 days, I think. Tomorrow, yes. And what I'm saying, I'm satisfied that the recovery program is ongoing at this time. So let's watch and see what's take place. And we might both and complain, but things it's gonna take time. We just go through a major hurricane, and it could be worse. So let us give God thanks and continue to watch the process.
We also have some responses, or this response from Cherry in Spanish Town.
Good morning to you, Morning Watch, and all the wonderful staff of Love 101 and all listeners. I'm very satisfied so far with the assessment of JPS working in our country, because what we have to understand, if one transformer is blown in a community or two and there is no fall in place poles, that is much easier to fix than when they have poles falling down, broken, flood prone areas or hilly terrains to deal with. So we, the citizens, yes, we need the light, we need the water, but at the same time, we just have to understand and try to work with what we have as citizens until our service is being restored. Because if they come and fix it and it is not done properly, the company will suffer and we, the citizens, will suffer again in the long run.
That's right. We can't take all of it. It's a bit long, but thank you, Cherry. Thank you for your response.
Okay. We want to thank both Edna and Cherry for their responses. And so we segue into the second watch. And after every national disaster, we assess the state of our financial, infrastructural, and agricultural sectors. But we seem to forget the mental and emotional state of our people. Is there a place for this sort of assessment? Is there a need for emotional and mental healing after a natural disaster? Well, to discuss these and other related matters, we have online Mrs. Jehan White, clinical psychologist from Tea House Therapy, and Mrs. Amanda James, who used to be traumatized by the coming of a hurricane. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. And our next guest, good morning.
Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me properly because the network is a bit bad right now.
Yes,
Hi.
yes, throughout Jamaica. Okay, good to have you both. We can both hear you. I'll begin with you, Mrs. James. Tell us about your experiences with hurricanes and how they have affected you mentally and emotionally. Mrs. James. Mrs. James, are you hearing me? Your time.
Good morning,
Yes, Mrs. James.
Oh, sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's Miss James actually.
All right. Okay, Miss James.
But yeah. Okay, but how it has affected me? Well, Hurricane Dean was definitely a very traumatic experience for me because of what happened then. I know that's about from 2007, and just to shorten it, my father nearly died. At that time, due to just, a broken window, right? Due to the storm and him getting caught by the glass from the window and just really bleeding pretty much to death, right? So that was very much, but well, with the help of God, of course, and, the support systems, he definitely did make it through that time. And I'm grateful to God for that. But from that had happened, it seemed, it has just caused, whenever there's an, hurricane watch or a storm that seems to be coming our direction, it used to make me feel anxious, sad, and somewhat a little bit fearful. And especially because I live on a hill, everything up here is louder and more intense, the winds, everything. So it's just really, it really did to me. But things have improved because since Hurricane Beryl,
okay,
I remember.
Tell you what, Miss James.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can you just hold that thought, please? We're up on a break. All right, soon be back.
Follow the one with pepper that are the winner. Shop and supermarkets. Everybody
Great
say
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is 7:45.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and this is the second watch. We are looking on the mental and emotional aspects in regards to Hurricane Beryl and I guess other hurricanes. And in so doing, we have online Ms. Amanda James, who used to be traumatized by the coming of hurricanes, and Mrs. Jan White, who's a clinical psychologist. Miss James, before the break, you were telling us about your experiences.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Right. So what I was saying is that So what I was saying is because of that experience from Hurricane Dean, it had really left an impression. And I think sometimes you don't always understand what triggers an emotion or what's really happening to you. So you may have an idea that, okay, yes, I feel this way, but you really don't understand what is happening subconsciously, which may cause your mood to just suddenly shift, or for you to be in a state of mind that's just different from probably how you were half hour ago, an hour ago, etc. And I remember with Hurricane Beryl, I was there and I saw everyone hustling about shopping and you saw the urgency. And I found myself just being still, and I was like stopping and pausing, and I just felt the sadness. And it was after everything. That I really realized that it was because of this oncoming hurricane that caused me to feel this mood shift. And so that pretty much was what happened. But I think what really gave me hope was that when I came home and in the midst of the hurricane and everything, I realized that I don't really have that fear anymore. I'm like, whoa, and I knew it was just God showing up for me. And I really look forward to this being maintained. But again, traumatic events can have triggers. And it's just to be mindful of it. And in some cases, get help where you need help. But again, sometimes it's just a process, it's human nature and you go through the process.
Yeah.
But it's way better now.
Yeah, we give God thanks.
Way better now than before.
Yeah. Mrs. White, you're a clinical psychologist. Anecdotally, how common are the effects of hurricanes or natural disasters on individuals as described by Miss James?
Hi, yes, good morning. It's actually quite common. When you have such a great loss, something when you not just only lose property or the things around you, but also family members really quite hurt, and you have to because you have to remember that the resources are now a lot less. They've been stretched thin, and as a result, you're not as confident that your family member is going to be able to get, or even you are going to get the care that you need. And so, as a result, it's natural to have feelings of anxiety and fears. Even numbness or sadness around, the past hurricane or the past natural disaster and future. And because there is, an anticipation of this could happen again and what does it mean, and trying to be as prepared as possible, but knowing firsthand how badly it can go. And so it's actually pretty common that those kinds of almost really traumatic experiences and traumatic memories come back for us.
Yes. And what are some of the telltale signs and symptoms that come with it?
That come with
the trauma, the anxiety. What else happens normally to people?
Okay, so once a hurricane, when a natural disaster passes, what happens is really the shock, really trying to clean up. There's the kind of physical actions of moving on, but then the emotional kind of reactions that can occur are things like you are having difficulty sleeping. You find that you are probably having nightmares, even that can happen. There can be things like certain sounds can be quite frightening for you. So certain triggers in terms of sounds, smells, depending on what area, and if it's a place that has an alarm system, if the alarm system goes off, that can happen. And so, and changes in your sleep, your eating, all of those things can be affected, can be symptoms of, your body and almost like your nervous system and your emotions are trying to recover essentially from something that's very, very traumatic and frightening.
So a lot of stuff there, Mrs. White. Miss James, you're introduced as one who used to be traumatized by the coming of a hurricane. Can you be more specific in terms of how you managed it? What helped you to manage this situation better?
Okay, so what helped me? All right, so there are some things you have to leave to time, right? There are some things that really over time you get stronger, you get through it, as well as, you know, preparation to the best of your ability. In some cases, you have to find a safe space to talk about it. So you may have to call a friend or share it with your mother or your family member, whoever, your father, etc. You know, that this is bugging me and I feel this level of, anxiety. You know, how do you think I can handle it? Or I just want to talk. And sometimes when you have that ability to speak about what you're feeling, it does help. Prayer helps for me also, and I'm sure prayer helps for all all of us. When you just talk to God about your fears, and you realize that over time or even immediately it can just go away. But it was a combination of all these techniques for me, combination of all these strategies, and that's why I am here now in a way better place.
Did you get counseling or seek help from a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Yes.
Did you, Miss James?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It wasn't, fortunately my case wasn't, like that, to that level. I just let it work out itself naturally and with, other techniques. But I didn't go to a psychologist, no.
Okay. So Mrs. White, from a psychological perspective, what are the best treatment options or precautionary measures that should and could be taken?
Well, Miss James really gave some amazing tips that she used, and I want to commend her on her ability to recover from something that was really quite frightening. And one of them is talking. A lot of times people, we try and just keep it inside or keep pushing forward, and it's really important to talk to people about what's going on and what you're feeling. So you can feel like it's normal to feel these things, because we can almost berate or shame ourselves for feeling what really is natural after something so scary. So being connected, talking to people around you. If you need a professional, great. But a professional can also really be, your community leader, your pastor, somebody who you trust. It doesn't have to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but that is available always. The other thing that we talk about are ways in which you can get back into regular routines. Something like a natural disaster, it shifts everything around you. There is no such thing as business as usual. And so trying to get as much as we can back into a routine that works for us, in which we can take care of our mental health. And something as simple as going to work, coming home, making dinner, all of those things help to resume normalcy. And that is what we are intending. And with those feelings of fear that may come up, then you're talking to your loved ones and checking in. The other thing that can help is reaching out to other people who may need help. Just letting people know that you care and that they're okay, because there's an added layer of, are my loved ones all right? Are the people in my community are okay? Someone I know who lost someone in a storm or went through a bad storm last time, that can be helpful. Giving resources to the community around is also helpful. And exercise, I talk about it all the time. When our bodies are taken care of, we exercise, we eat right, we're able to get good sleep. A lot of times our emotional health comes along with it.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier, Mrs. White, talking. What are the demographics that might impact that in terms of age and gender? And in regards to gender, of course, you know that males perhaps tend to internalize and females more verbalize. What's the impact of that in terms of talking?
Well, the impact of talking, the impact of communicating what you're feeling, and you're absolutely right, just from a gender perspective, men tend to internalize. And the reality is that they try and manage it or hold it as best as they can. But the impact of talking can actually help alleviate our emotional symptoms, just because we feel like the feelings are normal. A lot of times I'm just in my head. And so if I'm feeling anxious or depressed or fearful, I'm going to tell, if I'm not careful, I can say, oh, don't feel like that, I'm fine, I'm alive, give thanks. And it's not that you shouldn't be grateful for life, but it doesn't mean that your other feelings are not valid and important as well. And so the ability to talk to anybody, like I said, community leaders, just your friends sitting down and saying, yo, how was it for you? Yeah, mom, I did afraid to. Even those things can be really helpful. It doesn't have to be a huge emotional download if you don't want that, but not talking at all is far more concerning than any.
So what do you say to the boys and the men who find it difficult to do that talking? You know, we tend to internalize more. What do you say to my agenda?
Absolutely. What I say to your agenda is the same thing I say every time I'm fortunate enough to sit in front of any man in my line of work is at the end of the day, you're human too, and as humans, you get to have your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
What you want, think of it as a way of being an example to those who are younger than you, to show them that these kinds of things are normal and okay, and you are entitled to your emotions, and you're entitled to sharing what is going on for you. But share it in a space where you are safe. Share it in a space where you feel respected, and also where you will not be judged. And as long as you have that, everybody wants to hear that, because your loved ones care and want to know that you're okay.
Is there a role for crying, Mrs. White?
For some, yes, absolutely.
Tell us
I
about
almost see. Well, crying, I tend to describe it as anyone, any of your viewers, even yourself, sir, who cooks, and you think of a pressure cooker.
Uh-huh.
And as you know, with a pressure cooker, if the steam builds up too much and you open the top too quickly, it's going to explode.
Uh-huh.
And so I see crying as a steam being released. Think of it as just releasing steam. Oftentimes, when people cry, they feel better. It's a cathartic, and almost it can be very calming. And so crying in the shower quietly by yourself, any type of expression in that way, any way that you can do it where you feel safe, it is one of the safest and healthiest ways to just express that kind of building of pressure so that you can keep moving forward.
Yes. Miss James, you said you didn't go to a psychologist or psychiatrist or counselor. Any particular reason why you did not do that? Would you like to share with us?
I didn't feel at the time that it was that urgent, or not really urgent, but I didn't really feel that it was that serious. And I think why probably too, hurricanes are not like every single day, every single week kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as if, we'd be getting a hurricane back to back, which would intensify probably, the anxiety and so on. So I didn't feel like it was necessary, I didn't feel like it was necessary.
So you're not averse to it, you're not saying
because
that
I only had, as I said, of emotion. No, I'm not no, I'm not against counseling. I'm all for counseling.
Yeah.
I just never felt like it was necessary.
Yes. And what would you say now, Miss James, to the listeners and viewers, generally speaking, who are going through that or may go through those experiences?
Like the experience I had in Dean, or
the whole thing. I mean, just the condition, the anxiety that comes, and all of that. All told, what would you say to them?
Well, what I would say to the listeners is pretty much this: what I've shared as techniques I coped with, and what the counselor online or psychologist online has said is what pretty much you try to do. Get a safe space, talk. If you realize that it's really bad, then get help from a trusted source, as a psychologist said, your pastor, or a counselor or a psychologist or psychiatrist, etc. Journaling is also good. You can write if you feel different emotions coming up.
Yes.
And also pray, as I mentioned.
Right.
And cry if you have to. And try to also shift your focus, because I think sometimes when you think a lot about the worst case, it does build anxiety.
Uh-huh.
And if you ruminate a lot, think a lot over and over about what may have happened prior, which was traumatic, it doesn't help. So shift your focus to positive thoughts, valid thoughts, hopeful thoughts.
Thanks.
And
we're out of time. We're out of time, ladies. Thank you so very much for joining us. Have a safe day and all the best going forward.
Thank
you so much for having us.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information or to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-95967. This, of course, has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I am Dylan Toussaint, and you're back to Love in the Morning with Jokal Dyer.
All right, time on Love 101 is now 8 a.m. and you are now invited to listen to Forward in Faith, brought to you by the New Testament Church of God in Bayside, Portmore, right after